because he asked me. I mean, it's Ridley Scott, it's Gladiator. There's no, because he asked me, simple as that. And a good script, very good script.
Yeah.
Gladiator 2 is a movie that has stirred up a lot of drama, but not for the reasons you'd expect. Instead of focusing on the story or the performances, people are arguing about whether Denzel Washington should play Macrinus, a Roman emperor who wasn't black. The woke crowd, of course, is cheering this on, saying it's about representation. But let's be real, this is a historical movie. The point of historical movies is to show what that time in history was like, not to shoehorn modern ideas or include every type of person just to make everyone happy. Denzel Washington is a fantastic actor, one of the best in Hollywood, but this role just doesn't make sense for him. Why would an actor of his stature take on a part that is so historically inaccurate? Denzel deserves better than to be part of some woke agenda to rewrite history. He could have done something more meaningful, a role that actually respects his talent and aligns with historical reality. The real Macrinus wasn't black, and that's not even up for debate. Rome was a diverse place with people from many backgrounds, but there's no evidence that black men were Roman emperors at that time. Changing this for the movie doesn't add anything to the story. It just feels like the filmmakers wanted to check a diversity box, which takes away from the authenticity of the film. If people are gonna watch a movie about ancient Rome, they expect it to reflect that period, not 21st century politics. The woke crowd always argues that representation matters, but not at the expense of accuracy. Historical movies are supposed to teach us about the past, not push modern agendas. If you change too many facts, then it's no longer history. It's just fiction dressed up as history. And if we're gonna rewrite history to make everyone feel included, then what's the point of making a historical movie at all? Denzel himself has commented on the controversy, saying there were black people in Rome at the time. Sure, there might have been black people in Rome, but they weren't emperors. This feels like a weak excuse to justify a casting choice that doesn't make sense. It's one thing to add diversity to a modern story or a fictional tale, but it's another thing entirely to force it into a historical setting where it doesn't belong. The woke crowd always talks about fairness and inclusion, but they're quick to ignore facts when it doesn't suit their agenda. They act like anyone who questions these decisions is racist or against diversity, which is just ridiculous. People aren't upset because Denzel is black. They're upset because the movie is supposed to be historical, and the choice ignores that. It's not about racism, it's about respecting history and telling the story as it actually happened. The worst part is this isn't even the first time Hollywood has done something like this. Movies like Braveheart, 300, and even the original Gladiator have all been criticized for taking creative liberties with history. But there's a difference between minor changes for storytelling purposes and completely rewriting history to fit a modern narrative. At some point, you have to draw the line. Even the music in the trailer caused a stir. Instead of using something that fits the time period, they chose a modern rap song by Jay-Z and Kanye West. This decision left many people scratching their heads. Why would a movie set in ancient Rome use hip-hop in its trailer? It just shows how far Hollywood is willing to go to appeal to the woke crowd, even if it makes the movie feel completely out of place. Roman history fans were quick to criticize this, and while some of their complaints might be over the top, they're not entirely wrong. If you're gonna make a movie about ancient Rome, why not embrace the culture and music of that time instead of forcing modern elements into it? It's like Hollywood doesn't care about the setting anymore. They just want to make a splash on Twitter. The filmmakers argue that the original Gladiator wasn't historically accurate either, so people shouldn't expect the sequel to be any different. But that's a lazy excuse. Just because the first movie wasn't perfect doesn't mean you should throw accuracy out the window altogether. The original Gladiator took some creative liberties, sure, but it still felt like a story rooted in its time period. The sequel, on the other hand, feels more like a vehicle for modern messaging than a genuine historical drama. Hollywood has a bad habit of using historical settings as a backdrop for modern political statements, and it's getting old. People go to see movies like Gladiator 2 because they want to be transported to another time and place, not because they want to hear about today's issues. If the filmmakers wanted to tell a story about diversity or representation, they could have created an original movie set in modern times. Instead, they're rewriting history to fit their narrative, and it's insulting, both to the audience and to history itself. Even some of the people who supported Denzel's casting admitted that the movie's inaccuracies were hard to ignore. They said things like, Rome fell, so it makes sense to explore that in the movie. But that doesn't justify changing basic facts about the characters. If you want to explore the fall of Rome, great, do that. But don't pretend that rewriting the story of Macrinus is necessary to make the movie work. So, before moving on to what more Denzel had to say, subscribe to our channel as we bring you the deepest secrets from Hollywood. Don't forget to hit that bell icon so you always stay updated. It's amazing how Hollywood can take something as trivial as a supposed same-sex kiss in Gladiator 2 and turn it into the biggest issue ever, as if this is the only problem in the world. The entire debate about whether Denzel Washington's character kissed another man is being blown completely out of proportion.
That's about what it was. And I kissed him on the hands.
Ridley Scott, the director, outright denied it even happened, saying they acted the moment. Denzel himself admitted it was just a peck. But here we are, acting like this is some groundbreaking controversy. What's even more absurd is how they're using this to push a narrative. It's not about storytelling anymore. It's about normalizing these moments and forcing them into movies, whether they fit the story or not. Hollywood keeps trying to make these topics seem more important than they really are. Why does it matter if there was a kiss or not? Does it change the plot of Gladiator 2? Does it make the story better? No, it's just another way to grab attention and cater to an agenda. Even Connie Nielsen, who's part of the movie, dismissed the drama by saying her grieving scene was also cut because there was no room for it. It's not about homophobia or discrimination, it's about what fits in the movie. But no, the focus has to be on a kiss that didn't even make the final cut. They're treating this as if it's a heroic moment in cinema, but let's be real, it's just another manufactured controversy to stir up buzz.
No, I didn't want to say what I was going to say. It had to do with buzz.
Hollywood seems more concerned about making headlines and pushing these narratives than actually creating meaningful art. Maybe it's time they focus on storytelling instead of turning every little thing into a social statement. Not everything has to be about making a point. Sometimes a movie is just a movie. This controversy is just another example of how the woke mindset is ruining entertainment. Instead of focusing on good storytelling and respecting the audience, Hollywood is more concerned with virtue signaling and pandering to social media. Denzel Washington is an incredible actor, and he deserves better than to be part of this mess. Historical movies should honor the past, not twist it to fit today's trends. If Hollywood keeps going down this road, people will stop trusting them to tell meaningful stories. And honestly, who can blame them? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to ring the bell icon so you always stay updated. See you in the next one.